If I could tell my younger self one thing, it would honestly be to stay close to God. In the moments when I was distanced from his presence, I felt depression, I was doubtful, I just was distracted and doing a lot of other things, and the things that I really had set out to do, right? It was hard for me to reach my goals. And I remember when I was younger, one thing I would do is I had this feeling of like just looking at the world, or like looking at how small I was compared to the world, and just trying to understand what is my purpose? What is humanity's purpose? I didn't know, but I knew there was something bigger out there than me, and that was God. And in life, you can try to go the route of doing things on your own, but what better is it to do it with the one that created you, the one that knows your beginning and your end, and has plans beyond what you can imagine. Like, that is a life and a purpose and a thing worth seeking out. The world will tell you the best investment you can make is in yourself. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Like, definitely invest in yourself and in your skill sets and in your knowledge. But the even better investment you can make is in God. That's like the best investment, is to make it in the person, getting to know who God is, seeking out his voice. I love the story of King David because he is a man after God's own heart. And the Bible will tell you this again and again. And him and God were like this. And King David did mess up. He stumbled along the way so many times, but he did it with God near him, with him in his presence, and he seeked him for guidance. And then you look at King David's son, King Solomon, and you see how King Solomon chose the world and other idols and women, and how he distanced himself from God, and he dealt with so much depression, even though he was very wise. And so, looking at those two individuals' lives and the pathways they took, you can see one that wasn't as close to God, that had that distance, and one that chose to stay near God. And in my own life, the seasons where I chose to be distanced from God because out of curiosity, I wanted to know what else was out there. What else was out there wasn't what God's will was for me. And so I fell into a lot of depression and a lot of distractions, and I lost myself. And then one day the light bulb came on, you guys. It was just like, and I was like, wait, I'm distant from God. That's why I'm dealing with so much distress. And I need to honestly learn I just need to become closer to him again, because before I was closer to him, I just didn't know that that was closeness to God. So sometimes we have to fall out of closeness to God so we know what being close to him is like, so we know what his voice is. So if you are distant from him in a season, at least you know you're distant. At least you know that you are far away from God. And the spirit in you is telling you that you need to get closer to him. That depression in you is telling you you need to grow closer to him. That is a blessing in itself. And so what I learned from that season is just to like pick up this, or even listen to something that will help me, like, a sermon or anything in particular, a podcast that helped me understand, what I'm going through, or reading a story out the Bible that will help me understand that I'm not the only one in this situation. You read about Moses. He also dealt with like fear of doing God's will. Like, you're not the only one out there that's fearful of what God may want for you or want out of you, but like out of it we see that like a blessing will come, like showers of blessings. I can't express to you how much me choosing God and willingly, I wrote on my board a couple years ago, never leave God, like never leave his presence again, because when I did, it was torment and it was just destruction. It was just chaotic. My mind wasn't at peace. But when you're near him and when you're close to him, there's this sense of there's this sense of like peace and forgiveness and love that you won't ever get in the world. So if I was talking to my younger self, I would tell her, stay close to God. And even when you become distant, go back to God, because he's always there, and he'll never leave nor forsake you. And he loves you very much. I love you, but Jesus loves you even more. So go to him, run to him, and never leave him.